The stand of the 21st Ohio Volunteer Infantry Regiment at Snodgrass Hill could possibly be compared to the stand of the 20th Maine on Little Round Top at Gettysburg. Indeed, the length of the line defended by the 21st Ohio was far greater than that of the 20th Maine, and the stand of the 21st Ohio was longer in duration, as it began in the early afternoon and ended with the fall of darkness. But alas, there was no movie celebrating the 21st, and therefore very little glory. Hopefully, this little note will change all that. At Chickamauga, the 21st was part of Colonel Sirwell's brigade of General Negley's division. Negley was ordered to prepare his division as a reserve, and Sirwell's brigade was accordingly in position at the Snodgrass Cabin on Snodgrass Hill. After Confederate General Longstreet's penetration of the infamous gap left in the Union lines, Union General Brannan's division, which was falling back to defend Snodgrass Hill, asked for help from Negley, who agreed to send the 21st Ohio. Brannan put them into the right flank of the line on Snodgrass Hill. After the transfer in the early afternoon, Negley ordered his division, along with about 6 batteries of artillery, off the field of battle for reasons still unknown. By its very nature, a hill is good for tactical defense, so General Thomas, the highest ranking Union general in the immediate area, made a sensible decision to choose Snodgrass Hill as a bulwark to rally the Union troops. However, Snodgrass Hill was more than a simple hill. In 1863, Snodgrass Hill was referred to the area around Snodgrass House itself. Snodgrass Hill was also known as the Horseshoe Ridge, and soldiers who fought in the battle referred it both ways. Confusion hindered the soldiers who fought there. The sharp incline through fully wooded ravines and hollows restricted vision and created directional confusion. Conversely, it was an easily defensible position for Union troops. Many of the Confederate troops had been through difficult fighting throughout the past 2 days and were already exhausted. General Thomas's stout defense of the hill saved the Union Army from being completely routed, earning him the most famous nickname, the Rock of Chickamauga. The 21st Ohio was the right regiment in the right place at the right time. Commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Dewella Stockton, it had about 550 superbly trained Ohioans. Even more importantly, 70% of them had a unique rifle rarely carried by Civil War soldiers, the Colt 1855 5-shot revolving rifle. Accordingly, they could fire 5 rounds in rapid succession, which gave them a huge advantage over the average muzzle-loading soldier. Furthermore, they also carried roughly 95 rounds per man, or about twice what the typical soldier would carry into battle. This allowed the 21st Ohio to spread out its formation 1 man deep over a much broader front. Upon arriving at their position, the men began to construct breastworks of log, fence rails, and rocks behind which they could fire. In the meantime, on the move towards Snodgrass Hill was Brigadier General Kershaw's brigade of South Carolinians, part of McLaw's division, that famously arrived by rail with Longstreet's corps. However, Kershaw was separated from his horse during the travels and had to direct his brigade on foot. Kershaw's brigade had a reputation as an elite unit. At about 1 p.m., skirmishers from Kershaw's brigade began advancing uphill, expecting little to no resistance. However, they were met with a withering fire from the 21st Ohio, firing behind their defensive breastworks. Kershaw's men quickly fell back, and the 21st was ordered by Stoughton to countercharge down the hill. Kershaw lured them to advance to within 50 feet of a backstop line of South Carolinians, who opened fire, which caused the 21st to pause and quickly withdraw up the hill to their original positions. Kershaw then ordered another charge, with the rebels nearly reaching the crest of the hill. They met murderous fire from the Colt repeating rifles and shortly recoiled downhill. Many accounts of the battle by Confederate troops revealed that they thought themselves up against perhaps a division due to the rapid fire of the Colt 1855s. At this last repulse, Kershaw decided to pause and reorganize for a more effective push. However, at about 2 p.m., the 21st faced a new nemesis. The Ohioans were assaulted by Anderson's Mississippi Brigade coming onto its extreme right flank on Hill 3. Almost immediately, Stoughton went down with a shattered arm from a sharpshooter's bullet, resulting in a mortal wound where he died 2 months later. Command of the 21st went to Major Arnold McMahon. McMahon pulled a couple of companies off the main line to meet Anderson's threat, but even with the repeating rifles, they were hard-pressed to hold their ground. Luckily, at about 2 p.m., help arrived on his flank from General Stedman's division to the right of the 21st, stymieing Anderson's advance. At about 2:45 p.m., Kershaw was sufficiently regrouped for a third assault against the 21st. By now, the 21st had been under continuous attack for nearly 3 hours. Casualties began to thin the ranks, and ammunition was starting to run low. Soldiers began to grab ammunition from dead and wounded comrades, and a detail was sent to a nearby field hospital to do the same. In the meantime, due to drought conditions in the region, fires on the slopes below started to ignite, causing further confusion for attackers and defenders alike. The 21st barely held on. About 4:45 p.m., Confederate General William Preston's division entered the attack with Colonel John Kelly's brigade. The disciplined Ohioans held their fire until the butternuts were just 100 feet away, but this was their last volley. Out of ammunition, they fell back onto the hill's reverse slope, and Kelly's brigade took over their positions. At this point, Preston's brigade under Triggs arrived, and a conference among Southern commanders ensued. With nightfall approaching, it was decided to regroup and move further to the left, thereby completely outflanking the Union's right. The rebels accomplished this by 7 p.m., just before darkness fell. Repositioning themselves in the darkness, the Union formations, including the 21st, began to fall back off Snodgrass Hill, bringing the battle to an end. It was a Confederate victory, but the valiant work of the 21st Ohio contributed to the stand by Thomas's army on Snodgrass Hill and prevented the Confederates from turning the Union defeat into Union disaster. It gave precious time for the rest of the army to retreat mostly unhindered and allowed the army to evacuate back to Chattanooga. If the 21st Ohio had yielded, well, that's a what if scenario we will never know the answer to. So now you know the story. Tell me which was more crucial, the 20th Maine at Little Round Top or the 21st Ohio at Snodgrass Hill. It's your history. Learn it, know it, love it.